Hello, Group 201. This is our first weekly feedback video. And before we get started, I'm going to answer some frequently asked questions that I've received. So, some people are a little confused about how we're turning in work. There was a change, and I'll explain the change. So, previously, you would just turn in the assignments on the day they were assigned before midnight. Now, each week, in your guide, per class, there is a designated day of each week when you will turn in all of your work. Now, some people have asked if they can turn in the work sooner. Yes, I don't have any problem with that. So, the purpose of having all of the assignments each week be turned in on one day instead of each time they are assigned is to give you more time to work on them. For example, if an assignment was assigned on Monday, then we see each other again on, like, let's say Wednesday or Thursday, depending on the class. Then what you can do is work on all three of them during the week and then turn them in on the due date if the due date is, say, like Friday or Thursday. But if the day that they are due on is at the beginning of the week, then you can work on them the week before or on the weekend or something like that. So it really is the same. It's just to give you a little more time during the week or leading up to the turn in day to work on your assignments. But if you would prefer to do things the way you did during the first 2 weeks and just turn them in the same day you do the assignments, you can do so. That is perfectly fine. And another question that I've received is since one of our assignments is going to be on World War I, the one where you create a timeline, and we also have a project covering an important period of world history, some people have asked if they can do both on the same topic. And the answer to that question is yes. If you would like to do your project on World War I, even though we also have a class assignment on that, that's perfectly fine because in those two assignments you're going to be exploring that topic in different ways, which is why it's fine. So with that out of the way, those are the only frequently asked questions that I received. Uh, During the week, if you run into difficulties, problems, or if you have more questions, I encourage you to let me know via email and WhatsApp so that I can answer them in next week's video. With that said, I would like to talk about a few concepts from the assignments these last couple of weeks before ending the video. So we talked a bit about modal verbs and then we revisited that theme in the book. So I'd like to go over the three main categories. We have the modal verb can, which again is expressing an ability to do something. For example, you can run really fast. You are able to do that. Or you can jump really high. You have the ability to do that. The next main group of modal verbs is may. May, again, is about permission. You have received permission from someone or some organization to do something. So, for example, if you may go out with your friends, you received that permission from your parents. Or let's say that you may build in a certain area. That's because you have permission from the government. So, again, may is about permission. And the third major group of modal verbs that I'd like to review is must. So, must is about obligation, it's when you have to do something. So if you must do your homework, it's because you have to do that. Your parents or your teacher is making you do that. Another thing that you must do is maybe do your homework or something else at home, like clean your room or something else, because someone is forcing you to do that or you have to perform that activity. So those are the three main categories. Now in the book, they also talked a little bit about shouldn't or should. So should doesn't fall into one of those three categories because should is a suggestion. So if someone says you shouldn't do that, they're not talking about your ability, your permission, or an obligation to do that. They are giving you their opinion. They are suggesting that you do or don't do something. So for example, they can say you should talk to this person, then you should do that. Or they could say you should not go out at night because it's dangerous. That's just their opinion. You are not obligated. They're not talking about your ability, and they're not talking about your permission with that. So hopefully that clears up any confusion that you may or may not have had about the exercise with the modal verbs from our textbook. And now I want to talk about one more thing. These would be words with similar meanings. I'm going to go over some important ones. So in the book, they had alone versus lonely, and I'll talk about those. So when you are alone, And by the way, these are just like the actual meanings. I'm not talking about the grammatical context of these words or how you should use them. This is just the meaning and how we should use them when we speak or write. So, alone is a condition. Alone is when you don't have company. Lonely, on the other hand, is a feeling. That's how you feel when you don't have company, or you feel like you would like more or some company, right? So, to have people around you. So another group is big versus great. They sound similar, but they're a little different. So when something is big, you're typically talking about the size. So it's a big watermelon, or it's a big box, or something is big, it's large, right, in size. Now, great is more so referring to the significance or the overall stature of something. So for example, the Great Pyramids of Egypt, right? Of course, they're big, but they're also great in their significance and their importance. So great is more so about how important they are, and big is about just the raw size of something. Now, another group of words with similar meanings is tall and high. So if something is tall, it's usually talking about something smaller, but something that is still tall. For example, a person. A person can be tall, or a tree can be tall, right? So these are things that are not as large as mountains. They're not enormous, but they are nonetheless tall. Now, high is used typically for mountains, or how high, like an airplane is flying, it's flying high, or the mountain is very high. It's the elevation of that thing. So that's basically the difference between high and tall. Now, we also have small versus little. So small is actually about size. It's similar to big and great. So small is about size. So it's a small mouse, or it's a small box, or something is little. It's small in size. Whereas with little, it's about a quantity of something. So we have little rice, or we have little water left. We're saying that we don't have a whole lot, or that the quantity of something is not that much. Now, finally, I would like to talk about quick versus fast. So, with these words, they're very similar, but basically the difference comes down to grammar. So, with quick, it's basically an adjective for something, but it can also be an adverb. And with fast, it's an adjective and an adverb depending on how you use it. The difference then is that when quick is an adverb, it's actually quickly. So we also talked about that in class. You were adding ly. So again, quick and fast are both adjectives and adverbs, but quick becomes quickly when you use it as an adverb. So you have to add the ly at the end. That is the main difference between those two. So those are the key concepts from the textbook that we were working on this week. If you run into any problems or questions, please let me know and I'll address them in the next video, or you're free to contact me through the usual channels, email, WhatsApp, something like that. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.